These are the 4 best screens that you can have up on your computer while you are writing a book. Now, full disclaimer, you can do whatever you want when you are writing your novel. I have a full playlist here on my channel with me and a bunch of other authors showing you exactly what's on our screens, and none of us have the same things. So you can go through that playlist, you can go through today's episode and pick and choose what works for you and cobble it together to make your best space to be writing. But in my opinion, having some variation of these 4 screens is going to be the ultimate writing space for you, or at least the most helpful and the ones you should be most mindful of, because we don't want it cluttered, we don't want it overwhelmed, and we want things that will make you a better, more efficient, more effective writer. So the first screen is the most obvious, and that's your manuscript. You have to have that up if you're going to be writing, so I put that in my space front and center so that I can very easily see what I'm writing. I can type it, and I've done that in other videos for you. I have all my tips and tricks on how I change the background color to a warm tone tan so that it's not hurting my eyes as I'm writing, and then my words are going to be in a white font, and I make sure I zoom that in so they're nice and big and not hurting my eyes. From there, I have 3 more screens that I highly recommend you have on your screen, on your display, so that you can very easily function while you're writing. The next one is going to be a running timeline of everything happening in your book. So if you are a plotter, you already know this timeline. Get it on your screen so you can very easily see step by step what you're going to be writing. If you're a pantser or a planter, you're figuring some of this stuff out as you go, or all of it out as you go. Have the running timeline. I always recommend you have chapter 1, and then if it's not chapter 1, so let's say chapter 2, you're going to have the page number it starts on. So chapter 2, page 10 in your Word document, and then a bullet point list of everything that happens in that chapter. This is so that you can be mindful of what you've already written. You can kind of navigate around some plot holes because you can very easily see what you've already done. But this is also really good for marketing later on, or if you're going to be writing a sequel or other follow-up books, you can go back and see those details and where they are so that you don't have to go searching through the entire book to find something. You can just look at your running timeline, check out those bullet points, the chapter, get back into your document, and very easily find those things. So this is going to save you a lot of time and effort on the back end as you're writing, in your marketing, all of those things. Have a running timeline. And then also at the bottom of that part, if you have an idea for later on, but you're not at that part yet, just a little bullet point and what that idea is so that you can come back to it when you get to that point in the manuscript. After those 2 things, the next thing that I recommend that you absolutely have is a character info list. So over to the opposite side, I have a list of all my characters, their names, first and last if possible, and then I have descriptions of them. So hair color, hair length, what style of clothing they wear, if there's any special or specific words that they're going to be using, if there's any family background or history, or, and this is really important, if they get injured along the way. Like let's say there's a fight and somebody gets a cut on their cheek. I have to write that in there, because if I don't, and I'm going and checking their description later on and I forget that they had a cut, that's a problem and that's a plot hole. So I write any injuries that they get, anything they sustain along the course of the story into the notes. Everything I learn about them, everything I know goes into that note file. This allows me to make sure I'm consistent with my writing and I make sure that I'm following along with what I'm doing, but also when I'm then hiring out my character art, or I am creating things like lists for people who do cosplays or character art, they have those descriptions and I have to go back and figure those things out. So I know what color hair they had, what outfit they were wearing, all of those things, and it's very easy for me to use on the back end. Now the fourth one is one I really, really like, but it's not always necessary. For the vast majority of my author career, I've done it without this 4th screen, but this 4th screen matters to a lot of people and has been very instrumental in some of the books that I have written. And that is going to be your visuals box. This can look like a lot of different things. It can be a live stream of a location that you're going to be writing about. It can be character art, anything that's visual that gives you that visual representation. That's going to help you with the vibes of the book that you're writing, but also to check in on what's going on. So let me dial that back just a little bit. Character art's going to be great. If you already have character art, pop that up there. If you can look at your main characters while you're writing, if they're in your peripheral vision, that adds a lot of really good detail. It keeps you in the right vibe, in the right mood, and you can just very easily check in on them and see how they're doing throughout the course of your writing. But if you're using a live stream, that gives you really cool access to world building. I tell this story a lot, but when I was writing my mermaid novels, I put up a live stream of Under the Ocean. I watch the kelp moving. I watch the fish swimming by. It's all in my peripheral vision, but it impacts how I'm doing my world building. So as I'm writing away with my novel, if it gets stormy under the sea and like things are moving rapidly, maybe there's a storm on my book and maybe I can write exactly what I'm seeing from that live stream into my novel. If you're writing about a city, have a city live stream. If you're writing about something else, put up those live streams. Maybe they don't have a live stream for what you're doing. Maybe you're writing about a concert and they don't live stream that, but maybe there are some videos up on YouTube that you can just mute so that it's not, noisy and overwhelming and problematic, but you can see all the people jumping and singing and the lights and the things and just have that in the peripheral so you can add it to your world building. You can really be immersive in how you're writing it. These things are going to be really helpful to keep you consistent, to help you avoid some of those plot holes that you might end up with, and to make sure that you are well equipped to write your novel without wasting time. Because if your character list, if your timeline is right there where you can easily see it, you're not going to look through files or notes or taking time to do it. It's just right there. Saves you time, effort, stress, keeps you aligned with what you're doing, and making sure that you're also building up a ton of documentation for your marketing and even pitching. Like if you're going to be doing things with traditional publishing where you have to pitch an agent or a publishing house or whatever, it saves you so much effort on the back end. And like I said, there's tons of things that you can have up. You can have them on your screen. You can have them on other devices. You can have them in your space. There's lots and lots of options, but I want to see you streamline this as best as possible for you. So if it's not absolutely necessary, get it out of your space so that it's not cluttering things or crowding things or causing any issues. Keep it as streamlined as possible for you and what works for you. And if you want more ideas beyond this, you can, of course, check out my Show Me How You Write or Tell Me How You Write playlist where a bunch of authors and I literally screen record what we have on our screen as we're writing. So you can go and see the programs we use, how we have our layouts set up so that you can figure out your best situation for you and cobble that together to be whatever you need it to be to get your writing done. Drop your questions down below and follow along for more daily videos helping you navigate the world of author life so that you can live your best author life while still having a life. We'll see you then.